What's going on, y'all? Bud Elliott here. That's Nile, Lawrence-Stample, and unfortunately, we're coming to you after a loss to those Miami Hurricanes in Doak. Let's just get this off the top so we don't forget the sponsor reads. You see the hat. If you're on audio, you don't see the hats. That's Mad So. Awesome host for us at Cover 3 over the weekend. I mean, I saw so many Nolecast fans there. It was great to connect with all of y'all, and they were the sponsor, of course, who got us started off the jump. I saw Chad as well of the legendary team. Chad did such a great job. 600 plus loans now through the Nolecast loan program. Just great rates, opportunities there, knowledge of the industry. And I mean, talk about a diehard Nole. If you call Chad, you're probably gonna get 15, 20 minutes of Nole talk if you want it for sure. He loves FSU, man, on top of making great loans for our listeners. And of course, Congruity HR Solutions, best in the business, medical, payroll, whatever HR stuff you need, Congruity's got you. Hit them up in the show notes there for sure. All right, so we haven't had time to watch the All-22 yet, but just initial reactions from you following this one.
It was definitely, I would say, disappointing. Obviously, what most people would feel. I think a lot of the disappointment comes with, I think, the inability of being able to really show up in big situations and be able to capitalize like a elite team that everyone knows and thinks that we are, that we hope to be. And that's what the difference between, I think, a good team and a great team can do, is be able to be sound and disciplined and not beat themselves and not fumble the ball and not doing some of those things that kind of put you back, and we can't afford those things. But yeah, my initial reaction is, why can't we get over the hump to be a full sound team and play like one week in and week out?
So 2023, I said, if Miami keeps recruiting like this, they're going to bully you on the field because you don't recruit the lines of scrimmage the way they do, right? And I think this staff is not a terrible recruiting staff, but especially back then, I think they were getting outworked pretty hard on the recruiting trail. And I don't think it was a money thing. I think it was an effort thing and a skill level thing as far as your skill as a recruiter. I don't think this is an elite team. I don't think they have elite players. I think they have a couple nice players. I don't think you're going to have a lot of guys go pro off this football team. I think it's a good ACC team. We'll see if they comport themselves that way and take other ACC games seriously, because I'm obviously pretty worried about a spiral here. This is a team, I think, that despite Brian McFadden telling them, hey, don't drink the perfume, they pretty clearly thought they were hot shit, and I don't think they are. I think they're a decent to good team. I my main takeaway here is this staff correctly evaluated what they had going into this game. I think they made the correct, for the most part, I think, game plan of how to give themselves the best chance to win, and it didn't work. All right, you knew that your people up front are not going to hold up against Miami's offensive line. It's Darryl and a bunch of guys who are either going to be working not in the NFL, or at least not anytime soon going to the NFL, right? Maybe Mandrell has a shot there. Maybe Kevin Wynn, a long time from now, has got a shot. So you had to load the box like crazy against the run, and you made Miami counterpunch, and Miami landed the counterpunches. That. I would be really, really pissed here today if you just let them run the ball down your throat, and you didn't, right? For the most part, you said, we're going to commit to stopping the run. We're going to see if anybody could really make this team throw like few had. And, Miami schemed it up. I thought they were really good with some of their screen stuff. They didn't throw the ball down the field a whole lot. When they did, it was almost exclusively off play action or flea flicker type stuff. Mm-hmm. There was not a whole lot of drop back. You don't really have a lot of pass rush. So, I was surprised Miami just didn't do straight drop back a little bit more. I think that they ran the right plan on defense. And, ultimately, their guys are just better than your guys. You're like, hey, we got to put our guys out there in one-on-one situations. And Earl Little's going to go pro in something other than sports, to use the NCAA tag, right? He can't really cover, He's a decent college player. He's sometimes really good against the run, but he can't really cover anybody. That's not trying to shit on the kid, but it is what it is. I think they know what they have, and what they have is not good enough to beat a really elite team if that team comes correct. And increasingly, it looks like Bama just had an off day against you. You played really, really, really well, and they played down. in that game to open the season. Offensively, I mean, their D-line is just really good.
Yeah.
They recruit like crazy. They invest in it, and they have better people than you do a lot. Like Hanson's not a pro. Bain might go first overall. You know, it's kind of the same thing on the other side. Like I do think Pettis might go pro. Like, I think the size he's going to get a look, but he's not special, right? Medley's certainly not a pro player. They've got pro guys across the line. They really emphasize recruiting first, second, and last as their number one priority in that program, and it shows. They have better people than you do.
Yeah, it showed often. And it sucks because you watch it and you would want to get any momentum, but you talk about like a disruptor. The last time we talked about how I gained and how I got player of the game versus Miami, even though I didn't have a ton of statistical stats, right? I had a few good tackles, but they disrupted every single, and it's funny, just watching the game, you realize how much, even outside of just making the tackle, guys being able to run upfield and disrupt this, our reverses, are just those little offhanded plays that we have guys disrupted, and that's really what it's about. They had us off balance the entire game, and we were basically playing backyard football for the last 2 quarters of the game because of it. We had to almost ditch our game plan, and Tommy realized that. He was like, bro, I have to kind of take this into our own hands because they're disrupting everything that it is we're doing. But when you invest in your trenches, you invest in your defensive line, these are definitely the results that you're going to see because it all starts up front. I think what you said, as far as having some guys up front that can really do some good things for Florida State. It sucks with that penalty that Kevin Wynn had sliding up in the neutral zone. That's one thing you get as a freshman. That's what you get as a young buck. That is something that you innately have to realize that is a key important factor, especially in short yardage. Short yardage, you have to be behind because that's the only time it's really going to trigger you because you're down there in a 4-point stance wanting to make sure you get off the ball low. But Kevin Wynn looked good. Like he held the point of attack. No one bullied him. No one got him out of his gap. He stayed low. I am really excited to see Kevin Wynn. I hope that I'm excited to see how he could progress. I'm overall. So one thing that we talked about was I was very adamant about stopping Carson Beck. And everyone gave me a bunch of crap for it as far as being like, no, we need to stop the run. We need to stop the run. It is a given to stop the run. It's a given. Yeah. I'm so tired of hearing, oh, we have to stop the run. We have to stop the run. In every single game of the game of football, you have to stop the run. It is when you have a Carson Beck in the backfield that it becomes a different story. You have to stop the run. But if you have a Carson Beck in the backfield, guess what? Stopping the run is the priority at all times, but you then transfer that into stopping Carson Beck. You have to stop the run, period. But when you have a Carson Beck that can make a decision.
You only have 11 guys, though, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's Florida State knows it's not good enough to stop Miami run game with the people they have on the field unless you commit more people to it. Mm-hmm. I guarantee if you truth serum Mike and Tony White, you're like, yeah, our guys cannot hold up against their guys consistently in order to stop them. Like, there's no way. They're not idiots.
Yeah,
they know their people aren't as good as Miami's people.
And their game plan showed it.
Do you think? I don't know. Some of the way they played some of the screens, I think, is disappointing. Like some of that's just a guy like Malachi Tony making excellent effort after the catch. Like he just, our little jock's still on the field, dude.
Yeah.
But I need to go back and watch how they played some of these screens before I say anything else on that. But clearly, Miami's success rate on the screen stuff was really high, really high. So that's it's something you're going to kind of give up if you're going to load up against the run that much. You got to pack the box, right?
Yeah, and you got to pursue after. Yeah, if that's the case, yeah, good recognition.
I also think I thought Miami did a really good job of not falling for the eye candy stuff, and I think Tommy was for the most part okay. I know people in the crowd were like throw the ball type thing. Some of these times when he scrambled, they got screens set up to both sides, and Miami actually covered both. All you had was the option to get out and run. Maybe the one that I was annoyed with was it's his second quarter. It's the second quarter or is it the third quarter? Which way are they going? They're going towards the south end zone. They're on the plus 40. and it's like the half roll looks like, and then they're trying to leak Squirrel White deep out back, and it's first down. If it's not there, don't throw it. And he either doesn't see it or doesn't care. I'm assuming just doesn't see it, and launches it up there like it's clear double coverage and was picked easily. I don't know.
There's a couple things I wish. There's a couple things I wish we would have done better with as far as protection wise. We did do it in some cases, but it wasn't consistent. Whereas we weren't even getting that great of a pass rush, but Carson Beck had someone in there helping 90% of the time. Like there's a back that stayed behind. There was someone that stayed behind for protection. Whereas there was a couple times it was just man on man. And I'm like, that's just not something that we could do ever. There was not one play we should ever have our receivers go more than 10 yards down the field without an extra person in there to stop. You're facing one of the best D lines in the country. There's no reason at any point in time that we have a man on man 5-on-4. Never. There's no reason for it. And there was a couple times that we threw interception because of it.
So do you think all right. So if you ask Gus about that, my guess is what he'd say is, we like our matchup against their backers in coverage and out of the box and giving Tommy a clean picture as opposed to having Tommy read a bunch of traffic, and like that's my guess.
Yeah.
I don't think they really thought they could block them consistently. We went over in the preseason and when Malzahn was hired, like anytime they throw more than 25 times a game, it's typically really bad, right? Like the passing concepts are not special. They're just very rudimentary passing concepts. A lot of it's off run action, screens, like orbit jet stuff. I mean, you threw 45 passes in this game.
Yeah.
Like that's, if you told me you threw 45 passes, I think Miami would win by like 20.
Yeah.
Which I know at one point they were up close to 20 or 28-3, right? Like Tommy's just not a guy who should throw the ball 45 times.
No.
Miami not falling for a lot of the fakes. Like they were very disciplined and deserve a lot of credit for that. Like that's largely how you hit explosives in this offense, right? It's fakes, run action, eye candy, guys like not being eye disciplined, like Jimbo used to say, I violate, right? And popping a guy loose like that. And they just really didn't they didn't really do it. They didn't bust stuff. Like how many times did you have a guy like wide open and Tommy just missed him? Like, there's the pass along the sideline to Deuce, but not really anything else in that. And that's not even like a play fake. That was like a third down call.
Yeah.
I thought they were really good at that for sure. My worry going forward is Norvell has not pulled this team out of spirals before in terms of like when they start to lose, he does not found a way to get them to bounce back. So 2020, they lost back-to-back to Georgia Tech and UM. This is from Chuck, by the way. He couldn't be with us this morning. But 2020, he lost 3 straight to Louisville, Pitt, and NC State. Okay, 2020 was a weird year, obviously, for the whole globe. 2021, lost 4 straight, Notre Dame, Jack State, Wake Forest, Louisville. 2021 again, lost back-to-back to Clemson, NC State. 2022, lost 3 straight to Wake Forest, NC State, Clemson. 2024, lost 3 straight to Georgia Tech, BC, and Memphis. And then 2024, lost 6 straight, obviously, like they basically quit. How does Norvell, I'm going to ask you, how does Norvell tell this team, hey, you guys are not a playoff type team, all right? You guys are a team that we assembled to come back from 2-10. I need you to take shit seriously in the ACC. Like, how does he get them to care about going 8-4, which is a big time improvement from going, 2-10. Like when these guys are, on TikTok thinking that they're like, a top 5 type team just because they beat Alabama. How does he get them to get it? How does he get Tommy to stop talking about the NFL and be like, hey man, we got to win some ACC games. Like, let's be realistic. Let's actually have some pride and strive and show real improvement and don't go in a damn, a ditch and go 6-6.
Yeah, I think so. There's no way Norvell is able to actually do that. Like Norvell cannot do that. And that's why it hasn't happened. Tommy has to do it. Deuce Robinson has to do it. They have to have a team. They have to have a team meeting this morning. I cannot tell you the amount of team meetings that we've had. Telvin called, Jameis called, someone called some sort of team meeting in the morning and being like, hey, listen, so yesterday we almost got our ass beat. Like that was close. Like there's no way that can't come from Norvell. Norvell can say it all he wants to. He wants to be a playoff team. Like, he wants to do those things. So it's like, if it doesn't come internally from these players, we're not going to see it. And that's where you have some of that upside, is towards the back end of this game. Like, Norvell can't make those kids fight. It's Tommy has to make them fight. It's Daryl Jackson having to show that he ain't putting up with it. I thought Daryl made him some money yesterday. I really do.
Yeah.
I'm watching the game. I think he held his own in multiple occasions. I would have loved to see him shed some blockers better. But again, it's the Daryls, it's the Earl Littles, it's those that are going to have to pull these players together and say, hey, listen, there's absolutely no way we're putting our head down. We are a team that can really go out there and do something. Let's get to a good bowl game. Let's really put ourselves in position to be able to have some options. We got to have options. We want to go to the next level. If that's the case, then I have to pull these guys to come with me.
You think like that they're receptive to that message?
I think so, yeah. Especially the way we fought the end of this game. If we kind of crap the bed and we get blown out this game, that's going to be a much harder conversation come Monday morning, come Sunday, come right now, right? We have stretch and stride on Sunday. They come in, get treatment, get stretched out, and you're talking about the game. You're talking about what happened, talking about what could have been. And during that time is when you're able to say, okay, we were this close. Like, we fought. Like, there's some upside to it, instead of being like, damn, like everyone's coming in with their tail between their legs because we got blown out by 40. So I think we have a much different ball game, especially let's talk about how defense last versus UVA looked we looked abysmal. Coming into Miami, a top-ranked offense, very high-producing offense. We looked good. Lord, God forbid we don't have a fumble. We don't have these 15-yard penalties that end up killing us. We don't have these mishaps. We look damn good on defense. We would look really good on defense, other than giving up some of those big plays where that's kind of what it is, as far as what that defensive scheme that we talked about last time. You're going to give some plays because of it. That was going to happen. It's how the offense was going to respond. So I think there's a ton to build from here. And with the players that we do have, I would be surprised if we do go down that spiral. I think Tommy has way too much pride. I think he's too much of a prideful individual. He's too much of a leader for that to happen. It's just, my biggest question, at least as of right now, is do we play down to our competition? That's my biggest question.
My biggest worry is that these guys think they're way better than they are because they were in the Florida State jersey, right? Mm-hmm. And like that they don't take some of these ACC games seriously, and that you drop one or two who you shouldn't. Like that's my real worry. And I think we've seen that a lot in Tallahassee, unfortunately. And I think you see it, honestly, like a lot of times you see it in Miami. The difference is, like, Miami's guys are good enough, to have an off game, at least this year. Last year, though, they weren't. I mean, they had the number one overall pick, right? And still lost 3 games and squandered Cam Ward and missed the playoffs. And they screwed around and lost 3 conference games, which is wild. I guess we'll see if Mike can get him ready. This is like, if he turns this around and can go 8-4, I think a lot of people are, fairly satisfied with the turnaround. Some highs and some lows. UVA won again today or last night. Probably shouldn't have, honestly. Like, they had 2 defensive scores and 1 in overtime, which is crazy. But that loss ages a little bit better now that like UVA is continuing to win, and they have some shot at the playoff, actually, which is kind of wild. But looking at this, like, if you go 7-5, 6-6, I think people are pretty out, man. That's just not good enough. Not when you have 2 completely gimme games and like 2 FCS, slash, very low FBS teams at Kent State and a Stanford game. Like the Bama win obviously is great, and if you want to spend this positively, you lost in double overtime to a UVA team which continues to win. They continue to find ways to win. For all intents and purposes, kind of got blown out by Miami, but also not like they were not so far ahead that you couldn't mount a comeback, and you did, right? Like you almost had the ball with a chance to win at the end. So I guess you're not getting like crazy there, and you beat Alabama by 2 scores. So I think this is still a good football team. It's not a great football team. It's not one that can afford to look down on opponents. That's my biggest worry. Like, can Mike get these guys to beat the rest of the teams on the schedule that you should beat? Maybe he will, maybe he won't. I don't know. Maybe to your point, maybe it's Tommy. Like maybe Tommy's like, hey, guys, like, we were brought here for a reason. Go back to one of Tommy's comments, right? Like, I'm here to save jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, let's see it. And part of that is getting the other guys to actually care about the Pitt game, about the NC State game, about the Virginia Tech game. Like teams that I really worry guys in the Florida State jersey overlook and think we're just better than we roll the ball out and like the scoreboard automatically lights up. And that's not how it works when your talent level is what it is right now.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, as far as you're saying in intensive purposes, obviously we did kind of technically felt like a blowout, just because we were able to convert touchdowns. That's really tough, especially for me, because the game ain't over till it's over. And when you have a Mario Cristobal that has obviously proven himself to kind of put himself in bad situations, he played that game with the most. He had full understanding that there was a chance that he was going to lose that game. Like, just if you watch him on the sideline, he looked so nervous and he was like, we have to close this game out. And that's why you continue to play. So when you watch and you feel what's going on in that field and you understand that dynamic, there's so much to play for other than that win. And when everyone is on the same page on that, that is where you see the fight come to the end of the game. So it made the score look better. I think it made the opportunity for us to be able to rally look better. And I think more than anything, it really makes the people in the room realize that there's no reason for us not to have been in this game in the first place. So with all those things being the case, I see us having to again go into the locker room. Mike cannot really, he could say whatever he wants to. Jimbo was a facilitator. He was a facilitator at best. He was a genius when it came to running the plays and bringing the guys in, but we ran that team as a players. We ran that team, and that's what a lot of great teams run. The coaches can only do so much. So I think us being able to fight to the end of that game creates that atmosphere for us to be able to kind of rally. But we'll see. The only other thing outside of being worried if we play down to our competition is going to be Mike. And I still think Mike is a great coach. I still think that he could do good things. I'm just worried because some of these little things, as far as the fumbles, as far as some of these penalties, as far as some of the inability to be able to convert, that first drive should have been a touchdown. Like, we have to score on that first drive. There's no option to score on that first drive. I don't know what we thought that game was going to be, but that needed to be a score. So those situations are worrisome. I don't know how you overcome that. Other than better coaching. So, because the players can only control what they can control. And if they're not being coached in order to hold on to the ball, they're not being coached to be a little bit more disciplined, watch your keys, do those different things, then yeah, they're not going to do it. Attitude reflects leadership. So, but yeah, that's kind of my initial thoughts on this, man.
For sure. All right. We'll be back later this week to break down the game a little bit more, spin it forward, take a look at Pitt. Pitt, by the way, killed Boston College. It was like 45-3 at one point. That was wild. Pitt did bench their quarterback. They played this freshman. Probably a good move. Their quarterback was the second worst rated QB in all the FBS, all the Power Four. So giving anybody else a look was probably a good choice there. We'll talk about that more later this week. Nile, appreciate it, man.
Yeah, same.
All right, see you guys.